When Steve Jobs joined Apple back in 1997, he said, people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who really do.
Hey, I'm helping you build your vision. What are you doing to help me build mine?
Flexibility will always come with a lot of responsibility.
That is where the definition of success is changing.
I think I'm half Gen Z.
Money is not the requirement.
Mentorship style leadership is something that I value a lot. Oh, but you're Gen Z, no, you won't be able to do it. But you don't understand this, no, you're so young. You're too young to get this. Why cake? If we're looking at a baked product, maybe I want a cupcake.
Putting the human in HR.
Which is Gen Z's new friend, social media.
I think the Gen Zs are very fast forwarding. They are impatient, they are demanding.
That's not nice at all. Now the pandemic come, this time I'm ready to make reels.
These people have got inherited roti kapda makan and lifestyle, both. They don't have to worry about that. Now they are into a generation where they want peace of mind.
When Steve Jobs joined Apple back in 1997, he said, people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who really do. And fast forwarding today, we have an entire generation which believes in that quote. Yes, we are talking about Gen Zs. They're asking some very important questions today. Why should we work 9 to 5 in the age of Zoom? Why should we glorify burnout when we can have balance? And why work should be our only identity? Hello everyone, I'm Ikshwaku Sharma and host for this podcast today. And today we are diving deep into a subject which is very relevant today. How can we really create workplaces for Gen Zs where they can thrive? They can not only survive, adapt, but really thrive. And today we have a very amazing panel today who are going to be sharing their views. And we have two members joining from the Gen Zs. They will be sharing the voice of Gen Zs professionals. And then we have two people from the industry. So welcome Akshay.
Thank you.
Welcome Neha.
Thanks.
And welcome Livanya. And welcome Parth. Akshay has over a decade of experience in the industry and he has been interacting a lot with the B school students as well as he is a mentor to them. And then we have Neha who has very diverse experience of industries from banking, healthcare and infrastructure space, and she's a learning development professional, and as part of her training program she interacts a lot with young professionals, and that is makes her passionate about this topic today to add in her insights. And then we have Livanya who has a lot of mental health background, and then we have Parth. Parth brings a lot of experience from professional services. So that is all. And just setting the context, so over 25% of our workforce today includes Gen Z professionals. And that is likely to double in the next decade. So that makes it more and more important that we start engaging in such conversations because they are going to be our future next generation leaders. And that brings us to this conversation. Recently, what is going on in the minds of Gen Z professionals and what are they really looking for when they are making these choices? So starting with Parth, so what do you think is important to Gen Z professionals today?
I feel the trend that we are seeing right now, Gen Zs, they value work-life balance a lot. And the biggest single perk that I hear from anyone I speak to, either they want that perk or they already have that perk, is hybrid work culture. Everyone is speaking about that. And as a Gen Z, I definitely value that kind of an environment because one, I also want to explore other aspects that are there to life. Not just, work is not my only personality. I also want to stay fit. I want to explore other areas. I want to do some upskilling courses that will help me in my career in the future. Apart from that, we also want some kind of meaning or purpose to the work that we're doing. We want to be associated with the overall vision and the entire vision of the company, basically. So the main question that we are asking right now is, hey, I'm helping you build your vision. What are you doing to help me build mine?
Okay, so it's more a two-way kind of interaction and communication. But why do you think like this hybrid work environment? What do you specifically mean when we are talking about hybrid work environment? Is it like a 2 days office, 3 days remote working? So what is that specific need in terms of the hybrid work environment?
Yeah, so majorly companies do follow that 3 day work from office and 2 day you can work from anywhere, and that also gives us flexibility in our hours. I mean, obviously you don't need to sit in the office for 9 to 5 to deliver a particular task when you can do that anywhere, sitting from anywhere in the world. I get it. At some places you need to be there physically present there, and that we are okay with. But when we do not want to, there's no need to be there physically. Why do you have that mandate of working from office?
So, but how that is going to translate in manufacturing where there's a lot of physical needs? So just I'm like,
Yes, I was just hearing his opinion. That's fine. Everyone has opinions and we need to value them. But we also need to have cognizant of there are different kind of industries. Okay, there are FMCGs, there service, there consulting, and there is also manufacturing. And just to apprise, manufacturing is the largest contributor in your GDP. Okay, and if we want people at our shop floor, there can't be robots. There's no chat GPT which can assemble cars or which can assemble any assembly line product. So we have to have people there, which cannot be hybrid. But on the contrary, there we have seen in last 10 years a lot of shift where a nice point raised, when it is not necessary to be at the workplace. Why can't we have flexibility? So the onus is on both sides, the management and the young workforce who are joining the workforce in India, if I talk about. And in India, I have worked in that company in automobile where there were 3 generational workforce together. The grandfather, the father, and the son has been is because of the employee ward policy. There are few examples where the grandfather is also there, the father is also there, and the son has also just joined. So the expectation, we cannot have one policy for all these 3 people. So the flexibility of change is on the mindset of management. But it is a two-way approach. I will give you an example, an analogy of a cake. How we bake a cake. There has to be, for a good cake, there has to be 180 degrees Celsius and 30 minutes. This is the normal ratio if you want to bake a cake. You cannot decrease the time if you want something early. You cannot increase the temperature if you want that early. Otherwise, the cake will be overbaked, or if you put it out before 30 minutes, it will be half baked. So Gen Z should know that they can't eat half-baked cakes. So the success and the process of success has to be same. 30 minutes of heating at 180 degrees Celsius, you have to go through that. They also need to have mindfulness that this approach is constant. This was earlier as well in Gen X. This process is there in millennials, and this process will be there. Success doesn't have a shortcut. You can get only Maggie in 2 minutes. Nothing else in 2 minutes. So the expectations of Gen Z is that they want everything like yesterday. But for certain things, it is there. And just to build upon the work-life balance, these days, because of the technology and the expectations at work, we should shift. We should not talk about work-life balance. We should talk about work-life harmony. You can think about your life at work, and you can think about your work at life. That build-up and that space should be given by the organization, that you can think about if something happens at your personal end in your working hours. You should have flexibility. And if something happens which needs your interference in your personal time, for the organization, you should also reciprocate that as well. So we should talk about work-life harmony now, because a lot of things have changed recently. So this is how I want to start this podcast.
Thanks for sharing your perspectives and just trying to gauge from both the conversations. Basically, a lot of things will eventually also boil down to the manager or the boss you're reporting to, because whatever the policy may exist at an organization level, but that flexibility may happen within the team based on the comfort, because it's not easy to change a org-wide policy when you have 20, 30,000 employees in an organization. And yeah, you want to.
Yeah, I just want to start from where he started, So mental health is not a perk anymore. It's more of an infrastructural thing. Given the flexibility, so flexibility is definitely allowed when we talk about, we were also in previous times and today also we are talking largely about work-life balances. There's so much happening on that work-life balance, but yes, flexibility would definitely not define something like 3 days and 2 days. Yeah, so it has to go beyond. And when a person comes in, there is a lot of new perspective that he is bringing in, but along with that, there are already established set norms of the organization that probably will demand more of the time. So you cannot define something like, it's an absolute 70 hours kind of a thing, it's an absolute 90 hours kind of a thing. It's okay. So flexibility will always come with a lot of responsibility. True. Because you have a lot of accountability that is given to the businesses.
Absolutely. And here, I would want to add my perspective is what I have seen. Flexibility, even I have worked with extreme micromanaging bosses and clients. They are willing to give you flexibility once you earn their trust. Once they have that confidence, this person can deliver even if that person is working remotely at home, wherever they are doing, then that the question of flexibility becomes much easier. But if you do not have really earned that trust, you do not have that confidence that they will be able to deliver, then asking for flexibility becomes a difficult question to begin with in organizations. So that's what I personally believe. But now coming to you, having heard the different point of view, do you think when you're making these choices, is it really, if something is not looking exciting in terms of the employer, the nature of work, or they're not offering flexibility, will it be a big deterrent in terms of going for that role or that particular organization? What do you think, both of you?
So definitely, so there are organizations where, my friends work in organizations where you need to strictly report to work at 9. And it's a 8-hour shift, so you can leave at 5, but you are forced to stay at least 2 hours more. Apart from that, if you enter the workplace 15 or 20 minutes late, your pay for that particular day starts deducting. So that is a big hindrance, I would say. Personally, I wouldn't join that kind of an organization. I would prefer to look for something else. Apart from that, flexibility, like Neha mentioned, okay, we understand one week we are working 60, 70 hours in a week. But probably the next week we can have a few days off, right? So that kind of balance is what we're looking for.
I want to actually build on Akshay's point and Neha's point later on. Fair point, right? When we're baking a cake, everything has to be exact. It's a science. All the ingredients in specific measurements are needed. Our view of flexibility comes in the place of why cake? If we're looking at a baked product, maybe I want a cupcake, right? That is where the definition of success is changing. I feel like for the older generation, there was one definition that you have to chase the corporate ladder. You have to rise up on that. There are set positions, work hard and you will get it. For us, that route is changing. And that's why the choices also comes, the play of choices comes into, you need to take that into account. That we have choices. If you're leaving, we know there's something else out there that will maybe better resonate with us. That's where flexibility, the demand, if you call it, also comes in. We know we have it. We know we can work hard towards that and get it and achieve something else.
So what is the new definition of success emerging to be? I'm just trying to understand. For us, it was attaining the growth in the company and the financial status. When I started out my career, for me, that was I can grow and I can attain a particular financial status. So that was my definition of success to begin with. So what is it looking like now?
Parth mentioned, work is not my only personality. I think that's a brilliant line. And building on to what you mentioned, work-life integration is what we're looking at. We're not separating work is separate, life is separate. Work is a part of life. We also have other areas in life that we want to focus on, whether it's staying fit, chasing a hobby, maybe just chilling. You will be thinking about at moments, you will be thinking about work when you're in that life time, or maybe you're thinking about some life situation when you're at work. That integration has to be there.
I feel like we're not chasing designations anymore. We are majorly chasing purpose, and are we liking the work that we're doing? And I feel, I personally, I look up to older generations, to the people who are actually loving what they're doing, not on the basis of their designations.
To build upon what Livanya said, uh, chilling can be done at office as well. Your hobby can be pursued at office as well. So I'll take this takeaway that as organization and as an HR, I should also think of co-creating an atmosphere where they love to come to office. Yes, if I have a very nice lobby where there is beanbags and there is a coffee and there is a Netflix and there is some PlayStation, for that matter, that okay, you can work, and if you want to chill for some time, you can go to that beanbag, sit with your laptop, relax, because certain offices are doing that. And also there are hobby clubs. Okay, so these are just ways to attract these young gen. The whole point is we want to attract you as young gen because there is a lot of onus on us to build the talent pipeline for future. And we spend a lot of amount. When I say a lot of amount, it's a lot of amount in employer branding, in campus, in engaging the talent, in the training the talent, learning and development picture comes, because all my millennials and Gen X see those training developments with an eyebrows, that why this is only when we were recruited in this organization, we were never taken care of.
In fact,
But
you
why
would
we
hear
need
this
to...
from a lot of people, they would say, 5 साल में मेरा एक भी training नहीं हुआ. And these new people are trained so rigorously. So the focus is, so coming from an EPC, the focus is more on, technical. वो पढ़ के आया है technical, but still, we would want to nurture them technically. And just to build that up again, a lot of organizations are keeping our employee forces of this particular age bracket very engaged. There are a lot of sports activities that we do. And given the responsibility, you keep sharing responsibilities to them, give them the ownership of things, they really emerge out well. So I think there is a very deep dive hunger. So I do understand. So money is not the requirement for them. Flexibility definitely is there, but then flexibility also comes with a lot of responsibility and taking that ownership. So I've seen, I'll just share an example from one of the persons that I recently, incident in fact. So there is a calendar blocked for all the trainings, right? There are 2 to 3 days of calendar blocked, which are, there are multiple interventions running. This female gets up and she says, I have to rush to Jammu because of certain exigencies that have happened at my place. Some medical exigencies. Now the entire family is there. Female will go. We do understand there is a maturity level. There is an emotional connect for which you would want to go and travel. Now after you travel, you cannot just blindly drop office. You have those responsibilities carrying with you. You may want to carry some work, or okay, you don't want to carry your laptop, carry your phone. Everything is there on the phone. But then since you are on chutti, what will happen to all the interventions that we've planned for good like 100 people? You cannot drop them like that. So flexibility, okay. I mean, emergencies, okay. Understandability at the manager's end, absolutely okay. Empathetic versions, yes, it is there. But ownership needs to be there. To keep them engaged, I think, again, there are a lot of offices who hold parties. I've seen a lot of managers taking their teams out at least once in a month. So Cyber City, you go, Cyber Hub is all full of such happenings. Friday night, you would hardly find a table because the offices, they come. It is all a jam-packed place. So yes, there are engagements which are happening. And not only on the learning and grooming and shaping them up, but yes, on the lighter side. Organizations are trying to maintain that balance between the physical aspect and the mental aspect. So mental के लिए बहुत कुछ हम already कर रहे हैं. There are coaches which are aligned because we do understand there's a lot that they also may be going through. And you know, the Gen Zs, what I understand is they need somebody who can just sit and listen without a judgment.
Also, for example, what Parth said, that he compared his friends, that my friends are having a better work culture, or they are punching, their salaries getting deducted. We also need to understand that every organization like us have a DNA. That DNA cannot be changed. Okay, so every organization will be delivering either a product or a service or a consulting or any services. So that organization has its DNA for its existence, and if that organization has existed for good 50 years, 100 years, you need to value that DNA. That DNA cannot be changed. But yes, on the contrary, we have a lot of responsibility, like Neha said, that we are engaging. I have a full-fledged gym. If you come to my office, you will see a full-fledged gym with a 24/7 trainer. If you want to walk in at 9 p.m., 10 p.m., you will find that trainer with you, and he will give you all your support free of cost. Not only that, lot of engagement just to attract you, because there will be a gap. But nevertheless, we have waken up, and we need to attract you people. We need to spend a lot of thing on you, so that all the leadership journey, it takes time. Okay.
In fact, the leadership has been started to getting, I mean, the leadership, at least with the current organization, the MD is tracking the trainees. You know, how many of the trainees are coming? What is the attrition rate? What are we doing for them? How are we planning to retain them? Yes. So there is a personal interest of the organization at a very, very senior level also, where we are talking about retaining Gen Zs. Because see, Gen Zs, they are coming with a lot of fresh perspective. So we are moving like, you know, point A to point B, but the Gen Z probably may give us some curve to move. So there is a fresh perspective, there are thought processes, there are newer ways of doing things, which probably, you know, working like, you know, A, B, C, D, they may give us some, you know, A to E kind of a thing, but yes, in a fresh way. So we definitely would need them to be with us.
Absolutely. So now that was very interesting conversation, and learning and development, since it's in my area also, Deloitte did a survey this year, and they said like learning and development is one of the top priorities for Gen Z professionals, both on the technical as well as the soft skill side. So they really want to constantly learn and grow. But now, having heard both the Neha and Akshay, I want to put a question back to you. What the organizations are doing, do you think it is aligned with what you want? Like basically, sometimes I might be doing a lot of effort, putting in a lot of money as well, but that is not what actually the Gen Z professionals are looking at. So it may not land so well. So do you think that might be a case with certain organizations? Like what they are doing may not be aligned with what exactly you are looking for.
I feel like younger organizations, they are definitely taking steps to keep the Gen Z engaged. And one thing Neha just mentioned, that we need someone who we can speak to without any biases. And that is extremely true. Because, I mean, so I was speaking to a friend who's working in Denmark currently. And he told me that they obviously have a manager, and they also have someone called as a people leader. He is responsible for their overall career development and growth. And they have a one-on-one session every 2 weeks or a month, where their entire focus is, are you motivated enough? Are you liking what you're doing? Do you want to explore something else? Do you want to explore something else within the project, or work with another team? So I think that kind of policies should also be implemented in Indian companies, so that we have someone to speak to.
When you said younger companies,
Yeah.
From what I can tell, the issue here right now is not engagement, right? As you mentioned, like a lot of companies are bringing in those bean bags or gyms or whatever it takes to attract the attention. That part is being successfully done. The problem is retention. So here, perks feel more like a band-aid. If there is no deeper cultural shift, sure, you will attract us, but that is where you are not able to retain us. value, right? What you mentioned, is it resonating with us? Like, what kind of value are we seeing in the work that you're doing? Are you as interested in my career progression as I am expected to be in the company's growth? Those pointers really become highlighted when we are looking at our intrinsic motivations.
So basically, what we are trying to understand and like learning from that conversation is that having that one-on-one support or coaching or buddy kind of support is really important to them for organizations to consider. And secondly, just building upon that the mentorship is something is important to them. So they want to be constantly kind of looked after, engaged, and it's not like a one-way transaction. Just come and do this, start doing this. They want to know why we are doing and. Are we on the right track? So that kind of thing regularly needs to be built in as part of the organizational DNA and culture. Different. So, and yeah, Neha, you wanted to add.
I just had a thought. So we are see, you will always have a feedback. Not necessarily that a feedback only comes from the line manager. The feedback also comes from your peers, your team members, right? But are we really ready to accept the feedback that comes to us? That is also a question mark that I have of lately seen, that you know, when you share a feedback, so a very small thing, you write an email and you post it across. So there are seniors, there are mid-level managers to whom an email is going, which doesn't have an appropriate tone. So to say, you know, it may not have that assertive tone. See, it is very important for us to understand the kind of organization it is, the culture it is already holding. So you come and you start shooting guns will not help. You need to actually get into the details. So it's good enough to learn also, but then there has to be some eyeing for details. It's more important that we are also equally receptive to the feedback.
I'll add one point here. See, I think I'm half Gen Z, okay, and in my current space in the organization where I have worked, I take a step back and become referees. Okay, that there is senior management and there are Gen Zs. So when we often hear the word feedback, it comes to our mind, it's negative. Correct? Feedback can be positive as well. So it's on the manager and on the line manager, on your supervisor, that if something is good, open that window as well, where you go and appreciate in public that this is what I wanted. This is also feedback. But of late, I don't want to quote examples, but I myself have got feedback which are only negative. And that's where, because I'm half Gen Z, I'm a rebellion as well. My rebellion hat comes into the picture that, okay, when I did good, there was no feedback. So then my boss said, no feedback is a good feedback. then I asked, how would I know? Then he said, Akshay, this is common sense. And I said, common sense is very rare. And since I'm from Ranchi, I will quote MS Dhoni's word when he used to go into a cricket match, when the hurdle is there just between the start of the innings, he tells everything to each one of the 11 members. And this was one of the, although he gives very rare podcast, he comes very rarely into interviews, but he said that Virat said, MS, this is common sense. You don't need to tell this. Then MS said that Virat, common sense is very rare. He should be really knowing from me that what I want you to do. So coming back to that situation where he said, Akshay, no feedback is a good feedback, I disagreed with it. And since I'm a team leader, I have good Gen Z in my team, I always make sure that I also give positive feedback as well, and in public. And I will always give negative feedback, or I'll not say negative. As manager, it is OFI, opportunity for improvement, that give it alone. You capture those moments on one very personal, and you need to ask that person, are you ready to listen your feedback? Okay, so this, as managers and this organization, we need to practice that feedbacks are not always negative.
So what he said about feedback, I have two observations to add. One is that a lot of times people who are more receptive to seeking feedback are the growth mindset oriented. Because if I am seeking growth, I would want to take opportunity for feedback. And a lot of times if you're having a, you're not looking even at personally, if you I want to give feedback to my daughter, it's not going to land well, because she will not be happy about it. And second, what point he was also saying, do you see any kind of reluctance, like Gen Z professionals think, oh, I know everything, I'm doing well, I don't need any kind of feedback. Do you see any kind of reluctance in seeking or receiving that feedback? Or what Akshay was talking about, it needs to balance with both good and bad?
Feel I personally I seek feedback. Like I really want to know where I'm going wrong and where I'm doing the right thing. And that's why the good feedback mechanism. So at times what happens is, for example, I've been given a particular task and I don't know what my manager has made changes to it. She's sent it across, she or he, whoever. A month later, I get the same task again. I make the same mistake again, and now I've been told ki why are you making the same mistakes again? Because I do not know in the first place where I went wrong. So that's why I feel personally I really want to receive constructive feedback.
So personally, I also do seek feedback. I remember in my first internship, at the end of the first month, I had to seek out my supervisor and be like, hey, can we schedule a one-on-one? I would like to discuss my first month here, what I've done, how I've performed. They were like, oh, that's so nice. Like, it was a surprise to her almost. So personally for me, I seek feedback. But at the same time, I have seen a lot of my peers who are afraid to speak up. Like especially if they're not doing so well in any particular area, right, they're afraid to go to their manager, go to their senior and share that experience. There's this lack of psychological safety. Again, it's not general. In certain offices, with certain people, with certain type of leaders, that is present. That if they even hint at, oh, they're not being able to perform to the expectation, then they're chastised for it in very subtle hints, like microaggressions. You'll often read blogs about this, oh, but you're Gen Z, no, you won't be able to do it. But you don't understand this, no, you're so young, you're too young to get this. That hits us. So that's where also the inhibitions start stacking up. And maybe it's just that person, right? Maybe they're just a little bit reserved and they just need that little bit push for them to reach out. But if they don't feel that safety present with their senior team, with their senior supervisors and managers, they will hold back. And I think these small things, small acts and behaviors lead to us quite quitting and, changing jobs and doing whatnot.
So very interesting conversations happening, and now we're coming to a more interesting section, which is Gen Z's new friend, social media. So I know a lot of people want to, whatever they're going through, they put it out on social media as if it's their friend. So I want to first understand from Gen Z professionals sitting out here that how important is social media? What platforms you access much more frequently? Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. What is your go-to platform? How much time do you average spend in that on each platform, or maybe overall?
I feel when I was back in college, I used to obviously use more of Instagram rather than any other social media platform. But now, as I've started working, I scroll more through LinkedIn, and that is also, I mean, I feel how LinkedIn was a few years back and now how it is now, it's very different. I mean, you see memes on LinkedIn as well now. It's not just professionally, you're also personally engaging everyone. So yeah,
So it's like semi-Instagram, becoming semi-Instagram.
It is Instagram in a pantsuit.
true that.
That was nice.
True
That
that.
was nice. But do you see, like, when we used to grow up, our parents used to have this career aspiration, like, okay, you should become engineer, doctor, or an IAS officer. But now, do you see you might just imagine your son like becoming a YouTuber, content creator? That would be a more attractive career option than these conventional career paths. What do you see about that?
I mean, I don't have these conversations with my circle right now. Ki what my child is going to be like. I don't really think about all of that. But there's also a growing population which is adapting to the DINK lifestyle, which is double income, no kids. So I feel going forward that may or may not become a new norm.
So basically, content creation could be an alternative career path, additional revenues. Like if you are a YouTuber, people, kids are having that aspiration. Okay, if he's a YouTuber, then it's a something like a huge career aspiration to have. So do you see that happening currently in the upcoming Gen Z trends, or it's still to catch up?
I think so. The aspiration value is still so strong because the market isn't saturated yet. Like it's been so many years now. People can easily go on Instagram, make a short reel, and go viral overnight. So going viral is something that anyone can still achieve or still look up to or still want. That aspiration value is there. But if somebody is passionate about something and they want to connect with a lot of individuals, right? Social media is the platform to do that. Whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's X or Instagram, how else will you reach out to them? Like, I'm a very reserved person. I'm not on social media. I don't like it. But there are so many times when I start thinking maybe I should be on LinkedIn. Yeah, how else will I connect with other people in my industry? Like, I need to have that presence. कुछ एक दो post डाल देती हूँ, कोई बात नहीं.
But how about, you just said how to reach to people. How about calling them and asking them to be at a Starbucks and having a coffee one-to-one?
If that person is sitting in London, I am here in India, how will I do that?
Okay. Because I've seen families, mother is posting on WhatsApp that dinner is ready. And 4 people from 4 rooms are coming, reading their WhatsApp that, okay, dinner is ready, they will come. And the entire dining table will be like this and they will eat, no talking. In restaurant as well, because you will relate. When I was a kid, when I used to go to restaurant, we used to have actual conversation that I'm doing this, I want this, I wanted this. But when I go to restaurant with my wife and with my kid right now, there is no conversation happening at a restaurant at all. Everyone is busy in the phone. You see families in the phone.
Videos, I don't know if you've seen it, where the wife is only serving food when you come without a mobile phone. It is like, she's
Exactly.
with one banner which says that, no mobile phones. Anybody who's walking in, they have to submit the mobile phones at the corner of the table and then you come and eat.
No, 100% agree. Like, I get irritated with my friends that, hey, we're out for a coffee, can you focus here? But they're like, oh, yeah. It is irritating
Yes.
for me as well.
When I go to home, I just switch it off. I throw my mobile to at one end and I am totally on myself. I am not
Your
a...
wife should incentivize you for this. Honestly.
In fact, like one of my client, he made that disciplined practice. Like that was slightly more aggressive client. No phones, no laptops. Like in meetings, you have to be attentive because otherwise everyone was on the laptop or mobile phone. So, but yeah, I think like at least for the family conversation, I also personally, I have not got there, but having no mobile phone is a great policy to have, at least to have the real conversations. Now, I want to understand more from you. Basically, how important the social media is from when you're looking out for an employer? So if you want to apply for that job, like what will be you looking out from his social media handles? How will you evaluate? Okay, or you will just go on website, check that this is what they're doing and that fits the bill, or you will go out on social media platforms also, what kind of post is going out, how employees are engaging. So how do you decide that part?
When I'm deciding on an employer, first thing I do is check out their LinkedIn, see if I have some connections, any mutual connections with someone from that organization, and then probably reach out to them and try to understand the kind of culture and the kind of work that they do. Apart from that, these days I think even YouTube, a lot of organizations are getting into YouTube and posting content about their employees, about the work that they are doing. So social media in that way, it's a very good brand building thing for the organization and for us also to understand more about the organization.
I think for me, it's about visibility. So, I'll explain why and how. So, in my last year of graduation, I selected this area within psychology called IO psychology, industrial organizational, very closely related to HR. People often club it together, right? And I could not find any position or role or company in my network, like if I were to ask my seniors or people in my family, this corporate persons, right? They did not have any clue. They were like, HR ki internship kar lo. HR is the way. HR is the way. I was like, no, it's not. I know it's different. And that is where I want to add my inputs to. That's where LinkedIn came in, because that's one time in my life where I was like, no, I need to work on my social media. I need to reach out to people, and that's how I found my first company. They had built that brand and visibility of I being the only IO psychology firm in India, or the first one, or whatever however they place themselves. But that's how I got to know about them and their work. In I think in circles, there was no talk about IO psychology altogether.
So basically, what I'm hearing you, that social media is able to build that connection. Like if some organization or some leaders are really trying to have that proactive conversations, posting on social media their point of view, so that builds connection and that kind of attracts the talent if they want to work, if they resonate with the person's philosophy, organization's philosophy, and that kind of attracts them to working towards that company. Otherwise, like you will go through the traditional routes of hiring. So over a larger, what I can sense from your conversation, going forward, the larger hiring may also happen where people will be applying based on the social media connect they have with the leaders, because eventually organization is nothing but primarily the
I think
leaders'
from
philosophy.
the HR standpoint, it's more on, I think it has to be a blend of all of these tools. So it has to be a blend of LinkedIn, Insta, YouTube. See, LinkedIn maybe from a perspective where you need to position, you need to build a credibility, you need to have that visibility. Instagram or YouTube's maybe, where you need to share some stories. You need to showcase the culture of the organization or what primarily the teams are doing. So, for example, one of the organizations, they post nuggets about happiness. They post nuggets about what is the right practice, how are people being associated in a long term with them. So those nuggets, it's a very easy way of, shooting a video and posting only on that particular organizational network. But it goes out on YouTube as well. So when you search the organization, it will give you, what are the best practices.
Yeah.
So I think largely for the Gen Zs, it's not important that, you will always find the Gen Zs on LinkedIn 9 to 5 kind of a thing. But we need to figure out a place where, where the Gen Zs are scrolling in the midnight. Yeah. You'll actually catch them up there.
No, yeah, building onto that visibility point, like platform is different, right? But the content also has to be different.
Absolutely.
You can't post the same thing
Same
that
thing.
you're putting on LinkedIn on Instagram as well. I know there's this hiring agency who only posts memes, workplace memes on their Instagram page. And that will get tracked, right? That will get a lot of likes and scrolls across their feed. But the same thing they cannot do on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is for credibility. So that division, brand positioning, yeah, sorry, thank you. That has to be very clear and separate for each
So
platform.
basically, when you are scrolling through different platforms, you have a different set of expectations. Is that so? Like if you're going through LinkedIn, you kind of expect more professional learning kind of thing. Instagram, it should be entertaining educational value, and then YouTube is primarily the.
Another thing why LinkedIn is helpful for us is, since a lot of us are choosing like non-traditional career paths, right? So me coming from a legal background, I'm shifting towards consulting. Now, initially, I didn't know if that is even possible, and I had that kind of anxiety if I'll do well being a lawyer, shifting to consulting. But LinkedIn helped me because I saw a lot of other people who have successfully made that transition. So that is another tool why LinkedIn is pretty good for us.
I would preface all of these points by saying that it's mostly, like I have mostly seen that happen in younger companies. Those bureaucratic, large, older organizations, they can't have an Instagram page. What will they post? Like that just undermines their credibility, and it doesn't fit those two images.
So younger organizations are having an edge, like basically startups, younger
Yeah, smaller
leaders are
teams,
having
yeah.
an edge because they have more Instagram friendly content and image kind of building up. But for larger organizations, they may not even care also. Like for them, social media is just like another digital marketing team which is doing the overall branding. But you still see that the connect with the you feel a stronger connect with an organization if you see something happening on Instagram for that, and that helps you to get behind the scene what is happening in the organization's culture. Is that perception building up also?
Personally, for me, no. I mostly look at LinkedIn only. I think that is the place for work related anything, whether it's me seeking or me connecting.
And so, Akshay, you have such a large social media following. Like I think across platforms, you must be having 50,000 followers on various.
But only on LinkedIn. Sorry, I'm not on Insta and Facebook. I have profiles on Insta and all that. Yes, please complete your question.
So does that help you build a stronger connect when you're going for campus hiring interactions with the Gen Z professionals? When they see you so active on LinkedIn platform?
There are two sides. What I used to use LinkedIn or leverage LinkedIn, that whenever I'm going for an interview, I seek who is an interviewer. I go to that profile. I read what that person has done and all that. I still do that, and I think a lot of people must be doing that as well. But sorry, my LinkedIn is flooded these days, so I'm unable to use and leverage it too much.
That's the life of an influencer.
I'm not an influencer.
Semi-influencer. So maybe 1 lakh we will keep the influencer list. So you have to catch up. So Neha, I want to understand from you, what do you think the organizations can do to connect, how they can use social media to connect more authentically with the Gen Z professionals that establishes trust and connection? So what do you think? And maybe they're doing it already.
That's what I said, no? I think it has to be a blend of all the tools that we presently have. So LinkedIn for certain things and instant YouTube, like I mentioned the example also, one of the organization that is already into that space of doing certain things, they have a very clear-cut demarcation. This may not exist anywhere in a documentation in a policy, but they know what to post on LinkedIn and what to go on a YouTube channel, what to go on an Insta page.
So basically it's a very blended strategy.
It has to be a blended strategy.
This is how we
See, you remember a time, where I think we started. So there were times when we were talking about detailed PPTs. I remember a time when initially training in the insurance, it used to be detailed, cluttered PPTs. Then came a time where we, started an ideal PPT, 12 slides, 10 slides, even less than that, but just with bullets so that, person can talk more. And similarly with your resumes also at a point of time, 3 pages, 4 pages. Now it has come down to absolute 2 pages, right? And then there was a time when the learning had almost moved not from these PPTs, there was a time when, we used to train, and if there was no PPT, training was never given a good feedback. Dikhaya hi nahi kuch, humko bataya hi nahi kuch, right? And today, if a trainer is standing and delivering without a PPT, and the show is a great hit.
Yes.
It's a bite-sized kind of a learning. So I think the Gen Zs are very fast-forwarding. They are impatient. I'm sorry not to hurt you guys, but yes, they are impatient. They are demanding. In a lesser period of time, they want much.
much more value.
It is more to be focused on that, bit size of learning that we would want. So, zaruri nahi hai that we need to play some 7-8 minutes video. Maybe just a minute of a clip and they get what is... Absolutely. Right? So, I think we need to create and balance that blend of managing the content with the time and the impact.
And for example, I just gave one of my reportees a task. Since we are in HR, we should be custodian of policies. So when I recall, I'll put AI as well in the usage right now with Gen Z, because when I used to read a policy at my job start, I used to get hold of that policy. I used to sit and read everything. And now what one of my guys did at office, that he took the PDF, he uploaded it in Copilot, and he asked Copilot, please give me the summary in PPT version, and so that it is easy for me to read and understand. That Copilot totally uploaded the policy, and he downloaded the synopsis of it, and he made a PPT of it, and he explained wonderfully. So usage of that. So it took me, when I go back to my time when I started my career, I used to spend a lot of time in reading the line by line policies of these 2.5 hours. But that
the advantage there was that there was a lot of detailing we used to do.
I was coming to that.
Yeah.
I was coming to that. So now I asked few questions to him. He said, sorry, the co-pilot didn't tell me this. Okay. So coming back exactly where I was hitting the hammer, the detailing of reading the policies page by page, smelling that page is also important. Okay, so I remember my good old days in my first job where I was asked to realign the pages of employee file. There, in old days, there was no digitalization, so the employee folder will have your application, your 10th, 12th certificate, all the promotions, all your warning letters, all your suspension letters should be in one file. So so exactly,
And
so
it used
so
to follow a
set pattern. So I was given a task of 300 employees. I used to, the boss told me that Akshay, these are 300 files, but pages are not in order. Okay, so please make sure that in 1 week time, all the pages are in order from latest at the top and oldest at the last. It was in haywire manner. So I did this task and I thought, what rubbish task is this? What operational? I have an MBA from Xavier Institute, and why am I here to file this? Then what I did, I took it. Okay, let's do this. I just saw the date of the page, and I did this. I completed 300 files in 1 week. Then I told my boss that it's done. He asked me one question. That Akshay, what are the contents of an employee folder? I said, so I was amazed that I didn't have an answer into that because I was not seeing the page. I was only seeing the date. He gave me an opportunity. I lost that opportunity that as an HR, I should know what goes in the employee folder. I was not knowing that. And I was just in hurry to complete a task. That, okay, my boss has given me this operational task, but I had that opportunity to see how an application is looking like, how the job application, how is the interview form looking like, what was his score. I had the opportunity for 300 people. I could have read who is having how many kids. Is any suspension letter there? Is any termination clause is there? How? So I was not having the answer. And he told me that, Akshay, I gave you this task not to reorder the file in chronological order. I gave you this task to know how an employee file looks. So diving deep, from there, I realized that, okay, I have to dive deep. Some task you can't just use AI and all that, but you need to dive deep on certain works. You have to be that master on that topic. Then leveraging AI comes into the picture. Not losing this opportunity to dive deep. You have your AI tools, you use them, but you will be a surface.
AI is like your dirty analyst. Like basically, you can use for basic. If you want, you don't need to scroll through 300 reports to go through have a basic. But eventually, you'll have to create your own point of view and what are the likely questions. Though AI can help you in that likely questions also today. What the board is going to ask, what your particular person is, but eventually you'll have to have your own perspective.
But
Exactly.
I think this is what also, also forms a disconnect between the older employees and the younger force. So, for example, in an EPC sector where the tenders and the contracts are very important, imagine we have to go through those contract documents. But with the AI coming in, you would have a very easy way of doing it. But then again, there may be, so AI is also not perfect. You need to train AI.
Exactly.
Right? Now, in case if there is a small glitch or even a small miss out from the AI, it can be a lost tender. It can be
Yes.
amounting to a
Crore
huge
loss.
crores
Yes,
of loss.
yes,
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 absolutely.
Legal repercussions, the tender and
Yes.
Yes.
so that it has to be. I totally agree. But now I'm little coming back to our main topic. That a lot of people start posting what they're going through in terms of. So if I used to have any kind of problem, I would go and call my parents or my friends to vent out, and they're using social media as a platform for venting out their frustrations. Like, I'm going through this environment, that boss. So how do you think that radical honesty which they are putting out, is it coming from that Gen Z professionals are not having enough real friends that they want to gain attention on social media platforms? So why are they doing that? So, but why that kind of, why do you want to, because whatever is happening in your professional life, personally I treat it's more personal space. So why would you want to put it out in a public platform that this is something what you're going through? Or is that you want that organization to take some corrective action, change behavior, or it's a vent out mechanism?
I think it's a mix of venting out and accountability, right? That radical honesty, we have a platform and we're using it without any repercussions, of course. You have to be smart about it. That's the most basic thing I can tell you. Even when we're using AI or whatever we're doing, there is a smart way to go about it. That has to be there. I can recall this particular post that caught my eye, okay, a few months back. It came from my work colleague, like work acquaintance. I had met her at a networking event. And at that time, I felt a bit jealous. I was like, oh my God, her social media is booming. Her own personal brand is so big. She's gaining followers like anything. Like in a week, she gained a bunch of 100 followers. Her professional life is so successful. She got poached by a company because of her that visibility on social media, right? It felt like, damn, she has it all. The grass was really green on the other side. Cut to 2 months later, I see this long written post by her, and she's ranting out about the workplace culture. She had left the job in those 2 months already. 2 months is a very short time to be in a company, but that was her way of bringing that reality check to everyone around. They were like, the company didn't, they took use of my own branding, my own numbers. They wanted me just for that, and they didn't deliver anything. They weren't compensating me enough for my own hard work. So that came as a shock for all of us, because that particular company or whatever that platform was seemed very nice, and especially because it was a mental health service provider, right? You would naturally assume that they would have good policies for their employees, but that was not the truth. That was not the case at all.
I'll bring one point here. You know, I was reading one data, Neha, and it's a very nice data. 90% of the iPhones bought in India are on credit cards. 75% of the international travel booked by Indians are on credit cards, and they are paying EMI to after coming from that trip for 24 months. So very nice, in the editorial page of Economic Times, it was written that this is just because of social media pressure. If your friend is going to Thailand and Vietnam and Bali, you would also want to post. There is a very nice swing in Bali where girl swells her entire gown and all that. For that picture, everyone is swiping their credit card to have that picture and post in social media, because that is the pressure they are getting it. And it was 75% of the foreign trips are on credit cards, and all those people are paying EMI for 24 months. And what decision it is leading you? Are you really enjoying that, or you just need to post a photo just because you want to show people you are happy?
Similarly, on LinkedIn, when you see too many designation changes, I think even if you're doing too well, I've seen people who would want to just quit and move because of the change in the designation of your peers.
So, coming to a larger question here, is social media creating some sort of pressure on you guys for validation? And what Akshay point raised was, and are organizations using it for a consumerism behavior, that validation mechanism, to push out their products and services?
Sure, absolutely 100%. I think the competition is so much now. Like every classmate of mine would be doing 10 other things like at the same time, which seems at the same time, but that's just a facade. You don't know the backstory. My own friend, her Instagram, she's made a travel account. So on the face of it, it's like, oh my God, she's like that travel butterfly going from one country to another. But I know the backstory. I'm close to her. I know how much she's cried for her work, or what the hard work has gone into to make that possible. So we have to keep reminding ourselves constantly, it's just the facade, it's just the front. There is a backstory to it.
But why is the need for putting up that facade? Like, what kind of happiness you get? For me personally, it may not matter. Like, I'm getting so much happiness from a lot of different sources. So why do you need to put up that facade?
There's a lot of unhealthy comparisons that happen on social media, be it LinkedIn or Instagram, that you see someone having a perfect life.
So there's a lot of signaling that you do, right? Social signaling. You would have read in HR that, especially when you're in a social situation, you give out, like, what kind of class you're in, what kind of person you are. You signal that from the clothes you're wearing, what watch you have, what phone you have. You are not taken seriously. It is a problem. Again, it might not be that rampant.
Some person who is having an Oppo phone or some mediocre phone, people will not take that person seriously. Are you talking about that?
Yeah, the first impressions, right? When we say of course, they can show their worth, and
But
that
in
opens the
interview,
door.
in interview, my judgment is on the content level, not
Yeah.
the clothes or not the phone.
Outside those closed doors, what are you showing? Like, how are you being taken? How are you being perceived?
Going in that direction, sorry, I will be recruiting and opening a very wrong window at my office. My judgment level is content.
Right.
And what person are you? Not person you are wearing an iPhone watch or an Apple watch, the Nike sneakers and all that. I don't want that. I want content.
That's fine, right? But there's an entire corporate life that they have outside of that interview room. Once they have that job, when they're trying to, collaborate in a team or gel in, they
So
again,
fair
this
enough,
exists in
maybe.
pockets. This
So-
exists in pockets. It's not a general trend that's going on, but it is present.
So maybe fair enough, once you step into a job, once you start earning and you really want to know, or probably you have the right way of, shelling out money into various buckets, you may want to buy an iPhone. That's a fair ask. I am earning, I want to spend my salary the way I want to. I want to do a party or whatever. But then getting those EMIs on a retired couple, I think that was not a fair ask.
And you are never being judged on what you wear in the interviews. If HR
Not
recruiters.
interviews. I'm not talking about interviews
Okay.
specifically. There is no phone present there. I'm talking about outside those four walls.
Okay.
In a social situation.
It matters.
It matters to a certain extent.
Okay.
That first impression, we study that so deeply in social psychology. It's a whole field.
Okay.
It does have
Interesting.
an effect. To what extent, of course, that differs in different contexts altogether. What kind of place you're in, the culture and geography play a lot of role. Even within Gen Z, you will find a spectrum. The ones that who have graduated in, let's say, 2018, 2019, their workplace view would be different from the ones who will be graduating, say, next year. So that spectrum always remains, right?
Good.
So we will close this section with this last input. So initially, like our generation used to have the validation. Okay, I got this position. I'm working in this company. So is that being replaced by your social media profile presence, like you mentioned about the personal branding, the kind of thing? So now people are not being much largely influenced by the earlier, like, oh, he's working at this designation, at this package. Instead, the bigger aspiration, like, oh, he has that amazing so many followers, he is posting so much things on social media. So is that replaced, or both are going to be coexisting at this point of time?
I think followers, because of the rise of influencers, the number of followers and the number of likes and the engagement that you have on your post, that the value of that has definitely increased. And definitely, like if I see someone who has, for example, 50,000 followers, definitely it will be in the back of the mind that he's done something well in his life. So that will always be there.
I think it's a mix.
It's another matrix of your achievement and success for validation.
It's a mix of both, right? You can get that foot in the door, or like you can get that first impression, but the moment you open your mouth or the moment I have a conversation with you, anyone will be able to recognize that fluff.
Is it directly proportional? Number of followers on LinkedIn? I want to ask Parth one question. That number of is it directly proportional that higher the follower, higher successful are you?
Somewhere it is, I feel, because obviously, sorry,
No, it's not directly proportional.
no, but like I'm exactly 2K followers. Someone has 2K followers, he might be doing well also. I'm not denying that. But if someone has 50,000 followers, I'm sure he's definitely doing something different that has brought him there.
So all of you might have recently heard about a recent intern story which went viral. Basically, intern went on unannounced leave that I'm feeling overwhelmed, not getting that vibe at the work, and I'm going on leave to a particular location and send the PNR details and everything, and I want to take time off. And this was just like a no request for leave. This is I want to do. So I want to start with Livanya from you first, because you have this mental health background. So is burnout really? Why are they hitting burnout so early in their career? Like, why? What is really causing that burnout? Are we really moving towards a mental health epidemic in the near future?
Uh, Interesting question. I think there's a mix of one, awareness is on the rise, right? General mental health issues, so people are able to work on that, they're able to give it that priority in their own lives. Second, if I were to comment on that story, that intern getting viral, I think that's not nice at all. That's not the way to go about it. You can't just be like, "Oh, vibe nahi aa rahi." Again, it's a two-way street. What responsibility, you have to take it. You can ask for a mental health day, yes, if you are genuinely overwhelmed and that's affecting your work, go ahead. But make sure that you are able to cover up the work later on. Or the purpose of that mental health leave is clear to you and your manager or your supervisor, right? um, Coming back to your question, right, like burnout, is it really happening? It is. In a lot of hardworking Gen Zs, it is happening because there's a lot of emotional labor going on. That at workplace, the expectations are not clear, autonomy nahi mil rahi hai. Like, they want to stay on the work, on the job, but they're not getting anything out of it. So they're quick to leave. Again, I think initially we mentioned choices, right? We have choices, so we are able to do that. But it does not mean at all that we are lazy or we don't want to work. We want to work. We're just choosing what kind of work we want.
Agreed with that totally. And also I feel our generation, we have the option of monetizing our hobbies. Like in previous generations, hobbies were only for recreation, right? Now, for example, my younger brother, when he was a kid, he used to watch movies all day. My parents were fed up of him and everything. Now he's a filmmaker in the UK. So that kind of options that we are getting to explore other careers, that is immense. Apart from that, our generation also, they want to, since because the rise of the startup culture, they also want to start something of their own. I mean, this is a conversation I have frequently with my circle, that we want मतलब कुछ अपना शुरू करना है, something that is ours. So I feel because of all of that, there's a gap.
One thing I can recall, sorry to cut you, but like one anecdote that I have, one of my very close friends, she, right after graduation, she got into a dream company. This is a huge company in the aviation industry. Their office was in UK. And she was over the moon. She's like, oh my God, I thought after 10 years of being in the corporate world, I'll be able to get an entry in that. But she somehow got it. First month came, second month came, she gave it her all. She's taking projects, she's delivering them on time, she's chasing supervisors and managers. Okay, this is something that we can automatize, this is new that you can implement, and she's backing it all with numbers and proper reports because it's a large organizations, so proper paperwork is being done alongside. Within 3 months she's like, but I'm not getting any recognition for my work. I'm barely in my review, I'm barely getting meets expectation. Here I am trying to automatize your entire, like I'm changing or making it more efficient. I'm putting it my all. I'm so passionate about this work, but where is the value in it? I'm not able to see that value anymore. She really cried about it a lot. Okay, that's third month, fourth month. She's stretching herself like anything. Okay, she's pushing herself. No, okay, I still am interested in this work. This is my passion. I want to make some change. I want to bring in value. Nothing happened, no change. She's met the head of the entire plant. It's a huge warehouse with more than 100,000 employees. It's a big organization, right? She's met with the head. They have those one-on-ones, but there is no change after that. She's taken mental health leave. Okay, they have, as a policy, they brought in that, oh, you can take mental health leaves and you'll get support. When she took that, she started seeing changes in their behavior. They're not giving her work, or they're like excluding her from the meetings, from the project that she worked on for the last 5 months. The project that she has been working on, she's been leading, you're excluding her just because she took that one mental health leave. That's not fair at all. It was such a difficult decision for her to take. Okay, oh my God, that's my dream company, but it's nothing as I thought it would be. After 10 months she left, not even 1 year. She's like, it's not worth completing that year because it's a toxic workplace for me right now.
But this case is about the intern who went away while she was working and all that. I want to take a step back and think about the parenting as well. If the parents are backing their child that you want to grow in corporate and all that, so they should also provide that mental strength also. So I want to put
So my
Neha
only
into
question while I was listening to your side of story is, do you really think 3 months is a good enough time to have a burnout? It's your first job. It's a dream company. 3 months and a burnout, really? I think that
happened over
is.
10 months, but yeah,
But
yeah.
you said now 3 months of time and she started feeling that
She
I'm
started
into a
feeling,
toxic environment.
yeah.
What's so toxic? I think the first jobs generally prepare us for life ahead. So I remember working into sales, hardcore banking sales, and where the targets I think back in 2009 were, we had to cross about getting targets and banking accounts for a premium bank that was worth 30 lakhs in a month. And coming from a small place like Dehradun, it's full of HNIs, but then people also need to. But then that really prepared us. And we had a toxic boss. And we used to leave office at 9. We used to sit at a tapri, all of us, all 8 of us, having a cup of chai. And then we used to think कि आज कौन से client के पास जाएं, नहीं जाएं, कैसे जाना है. But then that did not mean that we have to give up our jobs. There was a clear cut burnout all of us were facing, but then we knew how to manage it.
Right.
So I think there are ways and means of managing and balancing. And then again, depends on the needs. अगर ज़रूरत है तो आप नौकरी नहीं छोड़ते बॉस.
Very fair.
And so, what Neha is saying, Akshay is saying, basically, definitely, I personally also see that there is a huge, clear mismatch of expectation. Like 8 months is nothing. Like
Right.
if I have got that new dream job, I would really chill.
So
and just
imagine,
blow it up like,
yeah.
oh, I got this dream job, I'm enjoying.
Yes.
And if similarly, if I used to get promoted in my organization, next year I would just chill. I would not have a huge set of expectations. Okay, I should be getting. So I would use
So,
that time off. So
very
8 months
honestly,
is
6 months is an ideal time when we really expect people to learn. And 6 months, the first, I mean, we call it as a honeymoon time in the organization, but 6 months is a time when people generally come to learn. They adapt the culture, they adapt the people. And it is likewise from the other end as well.
Right.
But this is, I think, probably one side of the story.
No, I do have a reflection point here. I think this disconnect, right? There's also a lot. Okay, so for that particular friend, if I can answer or share her side, that the ambition or that investment in their particular interest or that industry is so much, so deep that if they're not able to make that change, they get discouraged very easily.
See, nobody
That is there.
says, absolutely, nobody says that you're marrying a company. You
Yeah,
will
yeah.
definitely keep on changing companies, which means you will also be changing bosses. You will change teams, which means that, there are variety of people that you will work with, right? And when this variety comes into picture, I mean, you will not say that my boss is compassionate, empathetic, and you have your defined words for each of set of managers. No, life isn't like that.
No, very fair.
I think when it comes to a job, you need to be very open, you need to be very adaptable.
I think that's where the disconnect comes in, that their working style is not matching the organization.
So basically,
That is why they're turning towards the
misfit
younger.
is happening and they're giving up quickly. So now we want to come to the last question. So starting with both of you, what red flags do you associate with a toxic work environment?
Micromanaging.
Micromanagement also glorifying toxic habits.
Like?
For example, one of my friends, I mean, within her circle of colleagues, they were having a conversation that we want at least 7 to 8 hours
Okay.
just to be healthy, right? And then I think her manager overheard them or something, and he tells them, "Acha, you're getting to sleep 7 to 8 hours. I'll have to give you more work." So that kind of toxic habits that are being glorified within the organization by the senior manager, I think that is a major red flag, because they see that as a stepping stone to success.
So millennials for the longest time, what I've heard is no pain, no gain, hustle culture. Gen Z is more like, no thanks, I don't want to be stressed on Monday at 10 a.m. I'll be healing. I would rather not be doing that.
So where is it coming from? Like do you have so much of like why does quiet quitting or the actual quitting happen so quickly? Like where is this sense of security coming from? Is it the choices you're having, or the upbringing, or you have the sense of privilege that I would be able to figure out something or make my means by somehow?
I'll tell you where it is coming from. See, their grandparents worked for Roti Kapda Makan, okay, which their parents didn't have to talk about, okay, or think about. They get inherited Roti Kapda Makan, their parents. Their parents worked for lifestyle, that my child should go in the top schools, my wife should go to good shopping malls to have good attires, we should go to a family holidays together. So they work, their parents worked on lifestyles. These people have got inherited Roti Kapda Makan and lifestyle, both. They don't have to worry about that. Getting my points? So when they are coming into the workforce, their Roti Kapda Makan is sorted, their lifestyle is sorted. Now they are into a generation where they want peace of mind. Okay, it is a fair ask. What they are asking, it is fair ask, because the last two generations, they were fortunate enough that the last two generations have worked and sloshed on having a Roti Kapda Makan and having a lifestyle. They don't have to worry about that, at least. Now the next generation, which will come further after 20 years or 15 years, they will have peace of mind as well. They will have all three these things, because they will take care of peace of mind of their coming generations. So it is evolving, and we also need to evolve in managing them. A toxic boss or a toxic work culture, I would not rename it. Is Oriental Oriental way of working that cannot be continued while managing them, because they are not working for Roti Kapda Makan. They are not working for lifestyle. They have got it. They are working for their peace of mind. So we also need to amend. I think. Am I making sense to you both that all these three are?
What are your thoughts? Like, where is that sense of
Definitely
security?
agree to that, but also going forward, we'll also have to sustain that level of lifestyle and getting that Roti Kapda Makan. Right? It has to be
There's a
sustained.
Trust me, we are very
pressure on
worried
that.
about our money as
Exactly.
well. How to, especially with the current economic crisis that we've grown up in, like we graduated into COVID. And that's a very uncertain time, unstable time to be in. So some people took that opportunity, they have made their name and fame or whatever, but some people did take the losses as well. We need to recognize both the sides, right? We are very much aware and cognizant of this requirement that we need to earn our living. Maybe not right now, right? We do come from the sense of privilege कि अच्छा हम क्यों जॉब छोड़ रहे हैं, पता है कि 2 महीने में घर पे बैठी हूँ तो कोई बात नहीं. I have that home and safe space. But there's also that impending sense of doom. Oh my God, 2 महीने हो गए. Should I freelance? Yeah, should I freelance? Maybe I should also start posting funny reels. There's a certain meme going on Instagram right now. Okay, oh, let another pandemic come. This time I'm ready to make reels. So we have that sense as well, like the underlying sense is.
I think parenting also plays a very important role here. So as parents of today, I think we would not want to see our children being uncomfortable. There's a second expectation of parents is that, जो दूसरे बच्चों के पास है, वो definitely. So in today's times, when there's a birthday party and you really have to gift something to a child, it's a very big question, because बच्चों के पास सब कुछ है. They are already blessed with everything, right? When we were growing up, I think वो scarcity element was definitely there. Right? So, something like eating out once in a month was a luxury. Right? And then there were smaller dhabas also that we used to relish. Ki aaj dhaba or tomorrow maybe a restaurant, because you've got your grades today. So I think there were always reasons associated with going. So I think there is a shift in parenting as well. Today, eating out means every weekend, oh, there's no kitchen today. So larger life preparation, and then on the second take, I think where it is rugdifying, and when we talk about that toxic culture in office, see, no matter how much we talk about it, but again, toxicity, 100% elimination from organizations is still a dream. I don't know, you would want to agree, but it's still a dream. Students, they are any which ways getting rugdified in college so much. So, wahan tak, how is it acceptable? And what suddenly happens whenever you step into your first job? Why are burnout so quickly and so rapidly?
I
You know,
because
sorry.
because the internship culture has also grown a lot, right?
Yeah.
So the first flavor of corporate life that a person gets is when they're interning in university, college, first, second year. And interns are treated, sorry to say that, interns are treated like shit, right? And you are so, I mean, you already have a perception that corporate work culture is going to be like this. And when you enter the corporate world as a employee, you already know okay, I mean the work culture is already gonna be bad, and that's how it leads to burnout over time.
Here I have a bone to pick with the term burnout as well, which we often talk about in our closed mental health circles, right? That burnout is such a serious word, but इतना normalized कर दिया गया है. जैसे there was mental health when the awareness was just increasing, people would start dropping words like oh मैं तो depressed हूँ, मुझे तो anxiety है. When they're just going through normal, they're just being anxious. There's a huge difference between having anxiety and being anxious. Everyone is anxious for a lot of things. If you have a big interview, a big job or a podcast, you will be anxious. That's normal, that's part of life. But having anxiety is a very different, very serious issue.
Correct.
Yeah.
So burnout, I feel like it is used as a passing
Lot of
term.
words. Yes.
Group chat
Yes.
topic बन गया है कि burnout
Totally
सबको हो
agree.
रहा है, मुझे भी
But
हो
I
रहा
think
In
I
my
will
society-
again relate back to the
Yeah.
conversation that we were talking about. So again, relationship between you and your line manager matters a lot here.
है. Yeah.
So if you're pretty much good in terms, if you have that open door kind of a policy, you can just go sit, just have an informal cup of chai with him or a coffee with him, and you talk a lot.
What happens
And I
when
think-
we don't have that open door policy?
I think that is where we need to build the connection.
Yeah.
That's where both parties need to work. So organizations also need to take more proactive measure, because there are a lot of Gen Z professionals who might be more reserved or introverts.
Yeah.
So they may not feel that taking that first step forward, because there will be proactive people, but organizations, and they might be great workers, like as in terms of the quality of work they're doing. So their organizations can, or line managers can have more proactive interaction.
But there are roles defined. This is not a new problem. There are roles defined for an extrovert, and there is role defined for an introvert. If somebody is an introvert, he cannot be a salesperson. If somebody is extrovert, he cannot be a confidential financial reporting person.
I would disagree on that part, but I think that's for another podcast. Like basically, the
Sure,
role
sure.
of introverts and extroverts. Because I personally think that any skill you can master and you can sales, because everything is a more like it's mastering the skill, and professionally you have an objective to achieve. Like it's just the how you're drawing energies from different sources.
Sure.
But the professionally we cannot that this task is boxed for this kind of personality. Maybe you have a likely edge, but if you put in effort, you can master any skill. But now the coming to the how last super last question in 2 minutes. How much of the micromanagement is really concerned? Because my personal view is, if you take ownership, then people are less likely to micromanage you. But if you do not show up that level of proactiveness, that level of ownership, then even your supervisor needs to get that comfort, like, okay, I have assigned this task, is it really happening? Because I have also other stakeholders to report to. Otherwise, I'll have to sit in the end and do it up. So like
So I think none of the managers would want any of the Gen Zs to become superheroes, right? All we want is that you need to balance your boldness with ownership. Once you do that, I think the credibility takes its place, and then things get pretty much in place.
I think we can definitely start small, right? Like as
Yeah.
I said, it's a two-way street. We want to take responsibility of our own actions as well. If we're asking for ownership, so if we start small, then it's less of a pressure for us also.
Yeah.
That we're building that bridge across. We're building that relationship. That okay, maybe you gave us a small task, we took ownership, we did that very well, and then we can proceed on to the bigger task. So it's you're not putting yourself out entirely
Absolutely.
based on no
Because what I've seen is
evidence.
Gen Zs generally they love to take on work. They do like to take on those responsibilities, and they feel that elevation once they are placed into that
You
position.
also like to do it
Yeah.
that way. Like there shouldn't be any set processes that only you need to only follow this kind of a process. Maybe we might have a easier or a more efficient way of doing it.
ChatGPT.
No, no, no. In closing thought, I will mention this that we have the technical skills. It's very easy to go on any website. There are 10,000 websites. I can learn coding in 4 weeks and have that skill, right? But there is the gap between social skill and the technical skill. That is
Yes.
where that building relationship or connecting in offline spaces, and also where I firmly believe offline internships are very important. But yeah.
No, so I think like we had a very healthy conversation. Now we're coming to the rapid fire round, which is, and I will start with Akshay.
Okay.
So, what is one Gen Z habit you like? If you want to incorporate
Taking ownership.
taking ownership. What would you?
I think ownership again. They would want to take some ownership.
Okay, so these are something like they're proactive and they take ownership. This is something.
No, sorry. You want me to answer?
Something
The
else.
something
No,
good that
whatever you think is like.
No, no,
what
the
is one
question.
Gen Z habit you admire?
admire.
Yeah.
So they're very fast forward. They're very fast forward and they pick up things very quickly. And I think this is what we can leverage the most. We see so much of transition. So the kind of a PPT that probably I would prepare and the time I would do it, in spite of being a regular job to me, and you give it to a Gen Z and you see the result.
So they're quick learners. They learn very fast.
They're very fast forward.
And what is one habit that drives you crazy or nuts? That tests your patience, like starting with you.
When they don't listen to a feedback, which is again a positive feedback, when they are not receptive to it.
Receptive.
They don't dive deep.
Deep dive. So basically attention to details. And now we're coming rapid fire to you, Parth. So if you had to redesign HR, what is your headline or slogan would be? It would be something like, giving an example like burnout bye bye and something like balance high, welcome. What would your headline would be if you're redesigning the HR in your organization? What would be your slogan to live?
Putting the human in HR.
Nice.
Putting human into human resource.
Oh wow, so that's really deep.
That's so nice.
Livanya, what
Oh my
do
God.
you think?
So much more pressure.
Don't take any pressure. Like whatever comes to your mind.
Whatever you took the best one.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Second best is also good.
Okay.
Have this in your mind.
Yeah.
Second best is also good.
Huh. If I had to redesign the entire HR, my goodness. I think welcome change.
Change.
Welcome doesn't also, just to put a clarification point, it doesn't mean we're implementing or we're just taking it blindly. We welcome change, we take it into our stride, and then we.
Embracing could be the word. Embracing.
Embracing, yeah. That's a nicer word. Thank you.
Phone a
Now
friend.
it's for all of you. The future of work will be one sentence.
Dynamic.
Dynamic.
I think it is going to be a blend of technology and human skills.
Uncertain.
Diverse.
So dynamic blend of technology and humanity and uncertain. And what were you saying?
Uncertain.
Uncertain and
Diverse.
Diverse. So that's what the future of work looks like. So thank you to our panel for joining in the podcast today, and we had a very interesting discussion. We delved deep into what Gen Z professionals are looking for, and it looks like they are looking a lot in a two-way street communication, mentorship, regular support from organizations, regular check-ins, which really help us, which help them to build a rapport and connect with their line managers and the organization as well. And the future of work is going to be uncertain, dynamic, and with a lot of changes coming in AI, nobody can predict what is going to happen next. So all of us have to be prepared, and that is what we will continue to stay tuned in. Thank you.